Sup. My name is Coflo. Let's catch the ghost with Feelin' It Fridays. Yeah. I was just about to turn off my stuff because I just recorded a video and I realized, I want to record a video of this song before I forget. It's a song that I just picked up. It just came out. The song is called Time by Mr. G. This came out on the NDATL label. That's Kai Alce's label. I've been a huge fan of Kai Alce for a long time. I've had the pleasure to meet him on a couple separate occasions, and of course connect with him online. The guy is, as far as I'm concerned, he's a staple in American house music history, and his pedigree of his label and what his label has done, both from all the official stuff through to the great bootleg stuff. There's a real embodiment of what NDATL provides to the community, to the legacy of the music that comes out of this country, and it's a great representation. So anytime there's a new release, I'm always looking to hear and see what's up with that release. Whether it's my vibe or not, I can always appreciate what it brings. When this particular song popped up, Time by Mr. G, this is on his Positive Connections EP, which is a dope EP. So I just picked Time, which is the third track on the EP, because there is a banging ass fundamental to this song that I could not get over. I like really musical shit. I like really deep and spacious stuff. I like minimal. I like busy and abrasive. I like super tech heavy, forward thinking music. I like repetitive ass, get in your bones, soul, drum sequences. Like, I like the full gambit of things. Like from left to right, I'm picky, but I can enjoy and appreciate every idea that gets put into house music. This particular song has a sonic texture that has a lot of dust on it, has a lot of dirt on it. And I enjoy that because it's not trying to hide how banging it is by cleaning up the kick sound and making it more fat, more round, more, rubbery. It's not trying to clean up the vocal sound, the vocal sample chops to, tickle the hairs on the back of your neck and sound so sweet and airy. It's not trying to do anything like that. It's raw. It's not abrasive. It's in your face, but it's not. It has this subdued, soulful quality to it because of I think how the bounce is in it. It's interesting. It's a song that I obviously know that if I'm listening to this song and I'm dancing to this song, it's giving me more of a feeling of the harder edge versus the softer edge of stylistic idea in the tune. But the harder edge doesn't make me feel like I'm in some industrial warehouse or people are jacking their body to where they're, gonna wake up real sore the next day and have a hard time getting out of bed. Rather, there's like just the right amount of like unpronounced soul and funk to it that kind of like holds that neck breaking kind of like power that the song protrudes. It holds it in a regard where it has a little bit more seasoning. It has a little bit more, experience, and how it makes you jack your body, if that makes any sense. I'm gonna skip past kind of like the intro pieces, like what I would consider more of the mix-in pieces. I'm gonna get closer to like just the heart and soul of what this song has, because it is a very repetitive idea in its composition. But check this out, and I think hopefully you'll understand what I'm saying. And again, this is me wearing a dancer's hat, listening to this first and foremost, and seeing what movement it inspires for how I listen to it. You can see what I mean by like repetitious idea that kind of like, you know, jacking groove, although it's not jacking. It's weird because I know some people attach that description to a particular style of house music, or, you know, I'm talking more of like the vibe, like the physical vibe of like dance wise. You know, it has this like, I want to, you know, rock and break the abdomen. I'm not just two-stepping, right? And like the grit that you have between the bass and the kick and like all of the noise that's going on. It's like Mr. G landed on a groove and a sequence of things where he had very few things taking place, and it was just like, you know, I know this feeling when I'm making something, although it doesn't happen all the time, where you land on something so minimal and so simple, and you're just like, that's it right there. Like, fuck, for sure that's it. Like, you don't need anything else. That just works. Contrast again. I was just talking about this. Like I said, I was just recording a video, and I was like, I need to record this and talk about this before I forget, because I get so much music, and I would love to just share so many different songs, and I'll forget and I'll never make a video about it. But this song in particular, because of the mood and where I'm at right now, with, I don't know, listening in my life, this song really speaks to me in a way that's like asking me to dance to this and asking me to figure out how I can create something new just within the confines of this solid ass groove. And the contrast that's being used here, where you have all this grit and all this texture that kind of like sandwiches all this low end together with the kick, with the bass line, and then there's like this tambourine or like kind of muted metal shaking idea, and then the hat comes through much more stark, much more on top, much more, I don't want to say clear because it's not like a clear crisp sound, but rather it has something that sits on top noticeably. It's not being tucked away. And then of course the claps that are kind of like accenting that regular 2/4, kind of what you would expect in a very common use of that 2/4 backbeat, but the accent, it's like you pull away one thing to make you focus on the other. It's not like all of them are just necessarily happening at once all the time, and that to me is a good look. It changes the direction of the contrast. It changes the focus of like where I need to put my sonic attention. I love that. And the vocal sample, it has like a classic feel to it. I could use a change of heart. I'm pretty sure that's what's being said. And it just works. And it has a little bit of dynamic element to it where it's lower, it gets louder. I don't know how that's necessarily being shaped sonically, but it doesn't matter. I just feel like it moves a bit, which is important because vocal chops, repetitive vocal chops, can sometimes suck the life out of something grooving because they just are, in my opinion, from a dance perspective, they're just too repetitive. And this has just enough movement, it gets used just tastefully enough to where, again, I use this phrase for house music, it's like the jazz in the sequencing of house music, where it appears, but it's not always taking place to create a whole new idea of constant rhythm. All right, so let's skip ahead. Let's listen to another section of the song where the song kind of like opens up a bit. It gets a little bit more. There's some more vocal sample things taking place that kind of give a little bit more dimension. So instead of us being a little bit more flat in terms of the sonic texture we're listening to, there's a bit more dimension, some reverb. Three-dimensional space starts to get developed a little bit more. We start to hear a bit more of that contrasting brass tin sounds, and some of these like hats or rides type sounds start to open up, and we start to hear more energy being added in new sonic ways, while we never let go of that fundamental jack or that groove that's driving this song so powerfully. I can choose to change your heart. So you hear what I mean by that? Yeah, like that vocal sound gives us a new sonic landscape. It gives us a little bit more mood. If nothing else, it creates more of a mood. It makes the track, in my opinion, more serious. And personally, that's what I like about tracks that when they bang, they have a serious feeling to them. There is a whole style of house music that songs bang, but they are with a smile on their face and they're, hands open and kind of like, we're banging. There's a bit of like, I call it cheese, but I think a lot of people just call it like good feeling, like good vibes. Like it makes them happy. It bangs and makes them happy. And it's like, that's a common theme for a lot of banging, very hype songs. And I understand why there's a large number of people very attracted to that. But that doesn't make me want to dance, because that feeling is more of like, I'm just enjoying this, where as a dance, I want things to be serious because I want to create. I want to do my art. I don't want to just like ham it up on a stage in front of people. Like I want to be in front of a speaker or in a corner with my baby powder, and I want to wreck shop. So that vocal sample, that new idea, it gives the tone more seriousness for me. And that's all it is it feels like it just gives me purpose to the tone. It's not something I necessarily am like, oh, this is the sickest element that I hear, and it just creates more of an intent for what the song does for my dance. Of course, you can hear the hat open and close, or maybe it's like a ride being blended and open, not to be too picky, but again, it gives a little bit more movement. It helps with some of the monotony of what you get in repetition, but again, for this style of song, that doesn't really bother me. Repetition is king in this song as far as I'm concerned. And by now, if you haven't noticed, the overall texture and grit and kind of like distorted vibe of it just has like this really awesome warmth that, again, super solidifies the seriousness of what this song's feeling is for me. And it makes me feel, again, more serious about the dance. I really envy people that can make really good music that have this kind of texture, because for me, I struggle with finding a way to create this kind of texture in my music. And I know it's not for every song to have that texture, but I've always wanted to make something, and I've tried, but nothing ever that I feel is worth a shit, that has this kind of distorted overtone or this gritty overtone. And I think a lot of people, it's not something, depending on what equipment you're using or what approach you take, I don't think it's something that people understand how hard it is to do well. And this song does it very well. Okay, we're gonna fast forward, we're gonna listen to one more section of the track, and I just wanna call this out because I felt like this particular sound and this kind of like element of sustaining kind of like vibes, just again, it goes back to my statement of like, it just adds in a level of seriousness that I really enjoy about the tune. The sustaining kind of like, I call it the alarm, but it's some kind of like synth, like sustaining synth note, and it has a bit of modulation to it, or tremolo to it, and it's a vibe that like feels like a bit throwback, but it's like the right kind of like sound to pull you out and pull you kind of into this, like, if you weren't already rocking, now I'm really rocking. And again, I say this a lot, but it's the contrast that the song needed at the right time. It's the perfect choice for the contrast that you need if you're adding such an element. You don't need a lot sometimes, just that one thing, and you get that right level of contrast between what's already going on, especially when you let groove run the show. And one of those songs can just make all the extra feels for what it does for your dance. So check this out. Okay, that's it. I know you were getting into it, so no, that's it. That's all you get. You can go buy the song now. You could go to Bandcamp. Link is down below. Mr. G, Time, out on NDATL. Go peep it. Yo, I'm a new fan. Mr. G got me hooked in. Thank you for checking this out. Hope you enjoyed this episode. I'll see you next week. Throw me a comment. Let me know what you're feeling. I want to check out some new music. Somebody give me some new music to listen to, please. All right. Check you next week. Peace.